The declaration of war came from a minor coalition, issued during a routine council session. It accused humanity of trade interference and territorial provocation. The language was formal, following the usual escalation doctrines, and the vote passed, but just barely. War status was activated without ceremony. Most council members expected a limited retaliation, a skirmish at most. After all, humans had kept a low profile for decades. Their fleets were sparse, their colonies dispersed, and their diplomatic posture was always restrained. The assumption was simple. The humans would negotiate. The human response arrived within minutes. It was chillingly brief. It acknowledged the declaration, confirmed receipt, and that was it. No protest, no demands, no warnings. Then, every human representative disconnected. Silence. Within hours, all human commercial traffic vanished from shared galactic lanes. Joint research stations went dark. Logistics agreements, the withdrawal was total, synchronized, and surgically precise. There was no disruption inside human space, only a soothing, profound absence beyond it. Council analysts marked the move as an economic retreat, a de-escalation. They were wrong. The attacking coalition mobilized its fleets, sending them toward peripheral human systems. They expected resistance, patrols, something, but they found nothing. Human space appeared utterly abandoned. The first system they conquered fell without a single shot fired. The infrastructure was intact, the population centers empty, and the environmental systems were still running. The invaders celebrated a victory without cost, broadcasting their success across the galaxy. 3 days later, their forward fleet lost contact. Not from an attack, but from silence. Navigation data stopped updating. Quantum communication relays returned nothing but null signals. The ships were still there, still functional, but they were alone, uncoordinated. Backtracking vessels experienced the same baffling failure. Each ship became an island, isolated in its own reference frame, with no shared time, no shared command. To the humans, this was the containment phase. The Council, however, wouldn't understand this for a long time. Supply convoys sent to reinforce the fleet never arrived. Their drives shut down the moment they tried to jump. Their fuel crystallized in the lines. Control software rejected every override command. Still, no human weapons were detected. No energy spikes were recorded. Just absence. Panic ripped through the coalition command. They scrambled for emergency negotiations, but human channels only returned archival traffic. There was no one to talk to. The true nature of human warfare was species-scale lethality. Humans weren't the strongest, the biggest, or the most technologically ornate. They were the most adaptive, especially under prolonged conflict. Their entire history was a masterclass in attrition management. They built systems to survive failure, not just prevent it. Their doctrine avoided decisive battles. Instead, it targeted an enemy's dependencies, their coordination, their ability to recover. An enemy could advance, occupy, and celebrate, only to discover there was nothing left to interact with. No one left to fight. Weeks turned into months. The coalition fleets degraded without a single engagement. Maintenance cycles failed. Crew fatigue escalated into psychological collapse. Ships began abandoning their positions simply to regain a sense of orientation in the void. And then, the humans reappeared. Not as fleets, but as infrastructure. Navigation beacons flickered to life behind coalition lines. Trade lanes reopened, but selectively. Independent systems that aligned with human protocols resumed normal function. The coalition worlds slowly realized their isolation was conditional. Participation in galactic society required compliance. The war hadn't brought destruction. It had simply revoked their access. The deadliest species designation came from the post-conflict analysis. Humans didn't seek to annihilate their enemies. They sought dominance over systems, not opponents. They simply let their enemies exhaust themselves against an immovable, indifferent absence. The coalition sued for peace. Their declaration was rescinded. Their fleets, or what was left of them, limped home months later. When human representatives returned to the council sessions, they never mentioned the war. The conclusion was unavoidable and terrifying. Declaring war on humans didn't trigger violence. It triggered exclusion. The galaxy had learned a vital lesson. The most lethal species wasn't the one that struck the hardest. It was the one that could simply walk away and let the consequences mature. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this glimpse into a different kind of warfare, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that challenge the conventions of science fiction. See you in the next one.